how I'm doing it, and all, connect the dots type of thing.
So very much a man.
That's the way I am.
Very much a man routine.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's probably sounds bizarre for somebody in rock and roll, because a lot of it's chaotic. But I suppose that's just internally, I'm more comfortable if I'm prepared.
Right.
Put it that way.
Well, how have things changed then over the years? I mean, I've had a chance to talk to quite a few bands that have been around for 10 years or less, or something like that, and they're kind of watching the landscape of music, and that kind of includes the new media.
Yeah.
With a very curious eye. I mean, no one seems to be very sure about what to make of the changes, in the age of iTunes and
yes,
YouTube.
It's different, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's totally different. I mean, will there? I mean, look. If you sell 500,000 units now, it's considered a massive success. In the 80s, people were dropping double platinum, triple platinum, quadruple platinum releases.
Right.
And that's just the advent of what the internet has done, with all the illegal pirating that's going on now.
Right.
You really can't make. I mean, just talking on a business level, because that's what I do out, with my other ventures. You can't make money on records now. I mean, you only make your money from touring. Mm-hmm. Bowie said that in 1998. He had a premonition that, once the internet was underway, he said within 10 years, bands will not be making cash from records anymore. It'll all be from live shows, and that's pretty much the way it's turned out to be. Right. But as far as and you need that, I'm bringing that into the equation, because any band needs economic sustenance, otherwise you're just struggling.
Sure.
And so, where is the next great, massive monster metal band going to come from? Where is for example, where's the next Metallica?
Right.
I mean, I don't know of one on the horizon. I mean, where are the next giant bands? I hope there will be one, because I think it's exciting.
Right.
But I think we seem to be at a place now where everybody has a chance, but everybody reaches a plateau, and then it doesn't really go much further than that. Right. Which is just the way it is. Right. I mean, just in that short 20 years isn't a very long time in music, but in 20 years, I mean, we've seen the whole world of music turn upside down.
Right, massively.
So it's really difficult now, particularly for new talent, to get a foot in the door and be recognised. Right. We did a competition for the opening act at the San Francisco show the other day, and I looked at 160 MySpace pages for bands that kind of said, give us a chance. It's very interesting. I looked at bands from all over the country. And it was a real eye-opener for me, because I haven't done that for a while. I didn't have a chance before. And it was just interesting to see the broad scope and depth of all the different kind of metal and hard rock acts that are just from those 160 MySpace pages. And how many MySpace pages are there now? Millions and millions.
Right.
Hundreds of thousands of bands. Right. More than ever, it's like trying to find a diamond in a coal mine.
Yeah.
I mean, they are there, but it takes a longer way of finding it, and equally, again, keeping a band in a growth pattern. That's what we had in Priest and Sabbath. Your label supported you through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, however many releases, full vinyl releases it took to get you established.
Right.
Nowadays, if you don't hit the demographic in the first release, it's like next, who's the next in line? And that's a shame, because the musicians don't get a chance to develop their musicianship.
Right.
It's like any profession, the more you're in your profession, the better you should become, and it's difficult for musicians now.
Well, absolutely. And you mentioned that there wasn't much that you hadn't done yet. But what I did notice was that, for the first time, you and Priest released a concept album.
Yes.
Which, as a fan of the genre itself of metal and stuff, your voice and your band's style seemed to. For years, I always, kind of thought it was very, a heavy metal opera sound, and it was surprised that you guys didn't do that sooner. What was the reason why you decided to do it now versus earlier in your career?
Oh, I don't really know. I mean, I suppose, firstly, you can do a concept record about anything, really, off the top of your head. You can just run to hundreds of different opportunities. It was our manager, Bill Kerbishley, that suggested Nostradamus, and that was just a brilliant choice. Bill was very successful with the Tommy Rock opera that Pete Townsend put together. He's a very savvy man when it comes to those types of opportunities. So really that's it. And the fact that, we knew that if we were going to do something like that, it wasn't going to be a quick in and out the studio. It was going to take a long time to create, and it was almost a 2-year project, spaced out at 2 years, because you can't rush something like that.
Right.
But it turned out really well, I mean, I don't know whether you've had a chance to listen to the whole thing, but it's just a fantastic journey, trip, fantasy, whatever you want to call it, It's great. It is like going to the movies or going to a Broadway show. Especially if you put headphones on and close your eyes and just shut the world off for an hour and 20, 30 minutes. It's just a wonderful piece of escapism,
Oh, absolutely. And I thought that was the brilliant part of it. And so my other question is, like Tommy, have you guys considered taking that to the next level and maybe creating a stage show around that concept?
I think we'd love to, we'd love to. But again, multiple opportunities. We're looking right now, actually, to see what we can do. And I don't know. Might be in a year or two, might be in 5 years, might be in 10 years. You just don't know with something like this. Right. It took Tommy how long before it went on stage? Tommy took the Tommy thing for years and years and years, didn't he?
Absolutely. I think it was around 20 years as well.
Yeah, well, I've learned that long because I'll be clocking into 80 years of age. Right. I wonder if I'll be an 80-year-old metalhead. I would love to see Nostradamus on stage when I'm 80. That would be an absolute trip. But anyway, yes, because that was in our mind when Glenn and KK and myself were writing it. We were thinking as we were writing, this is going to be great if we do this scene with that scene and this effect and that effect. So it kind of went hand in hand right from the beginning of the project.
Well, so let's change gears a little bit and talk a little bit about the passing of Ronnie James Dio and your relationship with him.
Okay.
Do you think that we, as an audience and as an audience of the music itself, completely get what his legacy is yet?
Probably not now, because unfortunately it takes something as terrible and as tragic as this for people to really kind of get the full understanding of what he accomplished as a musician and the footprint, the vocal footprint that he left in rock and roll and metal. And I think, unfortunately, that's the way it is for a lot of rock and roll people that we've lost over the decades. But again, you just have to kind of celebrate through the sadness, if there is such a thing. And when I hear Ronnie now, I mean, I probably listen to Ronnie more completely now than I did before, for just the psychological, emotional reasons. And his voice is absolutely fucking unbelievable.
Right.
Again, Ronnie James Dio, it's instantly recognisable. His style, just his intensity, his subtleties. Very, very, very real, a great real rock and roller. No airs and graces, just dead straightforward, easygoing, always asking how you were doing, never about himself, never saying, look at me, what I've done. There's nothing about that with Ronnie. He was a very selfless person. So, to lose him, you lose a dear friend and you lose a musician, a live performing musician, but thankfully we've got the music and the visuals to keep us connected that way.
Right. Okay, I have a couple of fan questions.
Okay.
One of them was, are you planning to ever